reading this wrong your entire life. You've read Genesis 1:1 as in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. But the Hebrew is saying something so much deeper than that. The very first word is Bereshit, not in the beginning as a title, but in the beginning of, or when God began to create. In Hebrew, Reshit is usually the beginning of something, and there's no the in the front of it here. So a more accurate translation is actually when God began to create the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:1 is not a one-line summary, it's a setup. It's like scripture is saying when God started his creative work, the earth was formless and empty, darkness covered the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering. And then we see the very first creative act of God, him speaking light into chaos. Let there be light. So the story doesn't start with a complete universe. It starts with God stepping into disorder, and his first move as creator is light. Stay with me. So when God begins his creative work, the first thing he speaks is light. Now in Hebrew, the word here for light is or. I'm not talking about sunlight, that comes later. But this word light means illumination, revelation, clarity, order, and life force. Now look at the Hebrew letters. Aleph, the ox head, source, strength. This is God himself. Aleph is a representation of the divine spark that starts everything. Vav is the nail, the connector. It means to secure, to fasten, to join heaven to earth. So in Genesis, Vav is a representation of God connecting himself to creation. Reish means the head, beginning, purpose, leadership. So it represents intention, identity, and direction. So light literally means God, Aleph, connects, Vav, purpose, Reish, to creation. Light is God inserting himself into chaos. And here's the thing you can't miss. Light is not a thing, it's a person. It's the very nature of God himself. God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. So the very first act of creation is God releasing his own nature into the world. So if this is God's very first act of creation, that means when he made you, he created you to be a carrier of that same light, a reflector of his nature, a releaser of his creativity. This is why Jesus didn't just call himself the light of the world, but he turned around and said, you are the light of the world. But why? Because everything God is by nature, you're called to express by assignment. God's light brings clarity, your creativity brings clarity. God's light brings order to chaos, your ideas bring order to someone's confusion. God's light reveals what's hidden, so your content, your business, your calling reveals what someone couldn't see on their own. You're not posting videos, you're releasing light. You're not building a business, you're building a place where darkness can't stay. And this is why creativity is so spiritual. This is why your ideas matter. This is why the enemy fights you so hard in your mind, because every time you co-create with God, you're doing the exact same thing he did in Genesis 1. You're speaking light into chaos. It's not what you do, it is who you are.